In today's episode, we are speaking about games that we would like to get into, the games that seem like we've never really touched before. So, we were doing some thinking, and we thought it would be nice to actually just speak about games that we haven't really decided to touch for whatever reason it may be, but games that we would like to sort of touch and kind of get into. So, from my part, one of them was Destiny 2, which I have now somewhat dibbled and dabbled in quite a bit. Yuri here is a Destiny 2 profesh, I would like to say. And it was a game at first that when I first saw it, I was like, nah, like this game looks lit. Played it and I was like, nah, this game looks overwhelming. Left it for a bit and then came back. And it's definitely a game that I can see myself continuously playing for quite a while. And yeah, it's absolutely fun. Like the best way I kind of described it was like D&D but in space. Just in terms of like how complex it is, how many different elements and how many different sort of sub-fractions there are in the game for you to understand, especially when it comes to like hitting your, like having different, how can I put this? Having different builds, yeah. So you have to think about your mobility, resilience, like what you want from your character.
Yes, sir.
And how that basically transitions well into
the gameplay.
Into the game, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I feel like I'm selling this well, considering I'm someone who doesn't really play Destiny 2 like that.
He is.
But yeah, it's a game for me that at first I was quite intimidated getting into, but with the help of my brother over here, and our clan, it was really
shout out EOTM.
Shout out EOT. But it's fun. It's absolutely fun. Like, and especially considering how they had a showcase last week, I believe it was.
No.
That's probably one of the
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yes.
That's probably one of the most passionate showcases I think I've seen in a long time. I don't think I've seen a team that has been so dedicated to improving the game, sort of catering to the gamers' needs, or to the community's needs, improving it. Like, you can tell by the way they speak about it that they love it just as much as we do.
The gamers do, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Bungie.
And it sounds silly to kind of say, yeah, they look just as passionate as much as the gamers do or the community does, but
it's because they literally play their own game.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Like, they do.
Yeah.
Like, for the most part, like the community managers, DMG, Hippie, and like people like that, they literally play the game as much as we do.
Yeah. And
they are literally in the game probably just as much as the next hardcore gamer, or should I say hardcore Destiny gamer.
Yeah.
So they resonate and they understand what frustrations are happening, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. 100%. And I think sometimes it's very easy when you just look at a showcase to kind of be like, oh, okay, cool, it's just another developer or head of speaking about the game. But you're literally hearing from art directors, from gameplay directors, you're hearing from people who work on different elements of the new DLC or whatever it may be. And there's like particular languages they use that, oh, instead of giving this character this, we decided to give this character that instead, or instead of this arc, whatever, we decided to input this game to make it feel more like so and so. And you know, like sometimes you can kind of sieve out the BS, but in this one you're like, nah, these people really love this thing. And I think as someone who's very new into this series, watching that showcase, I was like, right, I think I love this game even more. Like I'm ready to buy the next DLC when it comes out because of how much passion is behind it. And so there were quite a few tweets I saw as well that people like, raw, like I haven't played Destiny before, but I want to get into it now. And yeah, that was a game that I started a couple months ago, and yeah, loving it ever since. So but on that topic, is there any other particular game for you that you haven't really gotten yourself into but you would like to get into?
I'll probably want to play like some cult classics.
Okay.
So like Tilu. So The Last of Us, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
God of War, 1 and Ragnarok when that comes. What else? What other cult classics are there?
Crash Bandicoot?
No, I played that. Not any of the new ones though.
Horizon,
yeah, that one. Yep. Yeah. I gave Zero Dawn a go.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a fan.
How come?
It just wasn't given.
Okay.
It wasn't given, mate.
It wasn't given.
It wasn't given, mate. Nah. Yeah, I felt like the gameplay was a little bit lackluster.
Okay.
For me,
for you
personally.
Mm-hmm.
And there were kind of like a few things that were irking me in terms of gameplay, like the movement and just like some things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I might give Forbidden West a go, maybe,
yeah,
potentially, because it just looks better, and they kind of from what I've heard, they finessed it a little bit in terms of like gameplay and that.
Yeah.
So I might give that a go and see
Nice.
what they've oiled up with their gaming E40 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll give that a go. But yeah, in terms of that stuff, no, nothing else that I would really play. I wouldn't say.
But would you explore more like Nintendo games? I remember
if I get a Switch, yeah, of course.
Cameron was talking about you getting a Switch at some point, so
kind of want to get into Animal Crossing because all my friends got that shit.
Yeah.
So just want to chill out with my friends on Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll be kind of lit.
It's gonna be fun. I think you'll enjoy that.
I feel like that's kind of lit. Yeah. I mean, we'll see when we get because you've got one already. When I get a Switch, praying for that OLED one, by the way, when that comes. Wait, the OLED one?
OLED one's out, 4K.
The Pro one is the one I'm waiting for, actually, because I've heard there's a Pro one coming. That's the one I'm waiting for.
Rumor has it.
Yep. So yeah, if that comes, then I'll get that model. If not, then I'll be stuck with the OLED one for the time being. And then if the Pro one comes out, I'll just give it to my sister.
Yeah.
But yeah, if and when, or more so when I get a Switch, then we will be in the Nintendo ecosystem.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already in it because I got DS, but there's not many DS games. It's kind of like all like Switch games now.
Yeah, and they're closing the e-stores for that as well.
Yeah,
for the 3DS.
So yeah, when I get Switch, it will be fun to see what's out there for me to play.
Nice.
Yeah.
Another one for me would be the YuGiOh series.
Okay.
So I remember it as Dev. I remember it as Dev Pro. But my fellow YuGiOh like fanatics, they call it something else now. Okay. But I that's something that is, for me, when I look at it, it's immediately overwhelming. Like, because you have so many decks, you have so many different. There's like thousands of cards now that do different things. So you have to look at those thousands of cards. You can have basic like standard decks, but for the most part, you got to really sort of think about, okay, which cards complement which deck and so on and so forth, and what kind of style of play you'd like to have. But hopefully at some point,
fingers crossed.
Say again?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. That I kind of get to the point where I can actually start playing it again. Because YuGiOh seems fun. Like, it just seems really cool, tactical. I've always loved the series as well.
Blue Eyes White Dragon in attack mode.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like all these elemental heroes and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. Shows
spell
my
cards
age.
And that.
Yeah. That's how much sort of like I kind of want to get into it, because I see my friends play all the time and I'm like, golly, like this would be so fun to get into. So yeah, YuGiOh is one of them.
Sick.
Another one that I had just started was the Tekken series.
Okay.
So I went to hang out with one of my boys, and we literally went to just play Tekken like for most of the day. There's actually 2 games that we played, and I'll mention the other game afterwards as well. But playing those 2 games with him made me realize, I really want to get into these games. So with Tekken, I've always kind of seen it. I've played it here and there. My first Tekken that I ever played was the first one, and then the one after that I played, I think was Tekken 3 or 4. So, and then I played Tekken Tag Team Tournament, and then after that I played Tekken 7 for quite a bit. But that time when I played it with him, the last time I played it with him, really was Tekken 7. Really made me think, like I really want to get into Tekken now. So that same day I bought the definitive edition. It was really cheap on the PlayStation Store, might still be, and I just got away with it. Getting my ass kicked, but it's one of those games that I'm like, like getting into Tekken or even fighting games in general is fun. I think one thing I love about Tekken is like when you're fighting, someone described it perfectly. It's like you're watching choreographed fighting happen to a degree. And one thing I love about Tekken is that you can, every hit you do, it's like if it gives a bit of impact. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe you might not feel as much in Street Fighter or if you're playing Dragon Ball Fighters, but like when you're playing Tekken and you hear that sound effect or that sound design, it's like, wow, I'm really hitting this brother. So Tekken is one that I'm starting to get into that I'm really loving right now. And is there any other ones that you kind of think of in particular?
One game that I want to get back into that I stopped playing is Hearthstone.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, so Hearth Stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a BattleNet game. Similar to YuGiOh.
Yeah.
But not YuGiOh.
Is it more like tactical? Is it kind of like XCOM?
Yeah. Yeah. Kinda. But it's like card based.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Sick. Sick, bruv.
That's pretty dope. Still.
Hearthstone fans, rise up.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard of it before. Is it got like a blue stone? Am I bugging?
With a little swirl.
Yeah, with a swirl. Yeah. Okay, cool. I wasn't bugging then. Yeah, because that I'm pretty sure they play that competitively quite a lot.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. That's a good one actually.
Yeah,
that's a pretty dope one.
That's the only game similar to LOL as it can possibly be that isn't LOL.
Yeah.
Because I fucking hate that game.
Not League of Legends. For people who don't know what LOL is. I actually do want to try that. I tried Smite one time. That was just about it.
If anything, any game that is similar to LOL that I will play is probably Paragon.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. I never touched Paragon still.
I played Paragon in like beta phases.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was lit.
And that's one that you get into. I'd say Diablo is another one that I want to get into as well. Yeah, Diablo is actually really good. I think I played it once. I think I saw gameplay for Diablo 2. I tried it and I really loved it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I definitely want to play like Diablo or try League of Legends at one point. I played Smite for a bit when it was free on PlayStation. I think it was like PlayStation 3 or 4 at the time. Can't remember. But yeah, one game that again I played with my boy was is it Crash Team Racing? CTR. Yeah, Crash Team Racing, I think it is. That game, of all sort of the wacky race games that I've played, like Mario Kart, well, it's only Mario Kart that I've played, CTR is a hard game to master. Like there's so many elements to that racing game that when you jump back in and play Mario Kart, you're like, this is baby food. Fairs. Like there's ways in which you time. The drifting isn't as I'd say the drifting isn't as easy as it is in Mario Kart. Like as someone who proficiently plays Mario Kart, jumping into CTR was a big learning curve for me. One, because I don't know the tracks that I'm racing on, so I have to basically suss that out. Two, the drifting is completely different, as in you time it in a way that gives you a constant boost each time, whereas in Mario Kart you basically just drift and just hold that drift throughout the time. Like in CTR you have to drift but press buttons at a particular timing to get those boosts. Okay. And if you do it consecutively 3 times successfully, then you get the ultimate boost basically. Okay. So CTR is like it was a massive learning curve for me. There's not many games that I played within the same genre that I've transitioned to that I'm like, right, this is a massive learning curve that I need to sort of start again. Like normally if you play one first-person shooter game, you go to a different type, you kind of get the basics.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah.
If you're, let's say, playing a racing game now, I think racing games have always been the ones that have kind of been a bit more complicated too. For example, if you're going from Forza to F1, that's kind of mad. They might be similar, but there might be difference in so many different ways. Going from Mario Kart to CTR, Crash Team Racing was nuts. So if there's any Crash Team Racing players, let me know what you think about that. But I think that for me was like one game that I said, yeah. Tekken and CTR, I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to get into this one still.
Fair enough.
Before we round it up, are there any honourable mentions?
Not for me. Not on this side.
You did say that there was... You did mention Hearthstone, a game that you wanted to get back into. I'm even thinking now, looking at it, is there a game that I would like to get back into that I hadn't played before? I think the closest one would be Madden.
Okay.
I played a lot of Madden before. So for me, I was like, yeah, like getting back into like the new Madden games is something that I'd love to do again, because playing with my cousin, I was like, okay, cool, like this is fun. Yeah, I say you were there, innit? Like, you know,
I was there.
like seeing us two play Madden is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, it's a game that just drives and fuels the competitiveness in
facts.
in us. And like everything from tactics to like showboating is 10-10. So I'd say Madden is one game I'd get.
Showboating is 10-10.
Yeah, bro. Listen, on in game and out game, like so yeah. If there's any other games that you are quite intimidated by, or games that you look at and think, you know what, I'd like to get into this, let us know. For me, it's now that I'm playing Destiny 2, but also games like YuGiOh or Crash Team Racing and Tekken. For Yuri, something like Hearthstone is a game that he wants to get back into again, and other classics as well. So yeah, let us know what you guys think. What games would you like to get back into? What games are you playing that you just started playing and you're really liking? Or games that, you would kind of like to just kind of revisit. So yeah, that's it. There's another Challenge Playing One episode for you guys. My name's Archie.
My name's Yuri.
Stay safe.
Stay confident.